My friends, first of all, to tell about the Yawanawá and everything, we need to talk first about Amazonia. You see, we are here to talk about the most important, vital issue that humankind is facing nowadays. See, it's about our survival of humankind. It's nothing less than that. As you know, we are having a kind of environmental global catastrophe with the global warming and everything that global warming is bringing, and each year is getting worse. And Amazonia is a very important part of that. Understand? Amazonia, different from the temperate forest here that came after the last glacier age. The forests here are 11,000 years old. Amazonia is at least 2 million years old. You see, time enough to life reproduce itself in hundreds of thousands of species. We can talk, we can read, but when you are there, you really feel the kingdom, the great kingdom, you see, of so many birds and so many bugs and so many leaves, so many trees. The magnitude of the forest is almost unbelievable. You see, it's our great biological treasure that we have, and unfortunately is disappearing. You see, Amazonia has a very important environmental function that has been degraded. You see, first is about the climate. You see, it's a hydrobiological system. You have three factors: evapotranspiration, producing the water steam in the air, like 20 billion metric tons per day goes to the air and form that huge aerial rivers, the clouds, but they go like rivers, and they travel thousands of kilometers. They go to the southeast of Brazil, north of and Argentina, Chile. They travel, they come to California. They used to come, that's the problem, you see, because now with the desertification, 20%, we have 40%, this environmental function is lost 40% of the capacity, because we have 20% of Amazonia already degraded and another 20% deforested. You see, it works almost like a water pump. It sucks the moisture of the ocean and brings the water stream to the air, becomes as it rains. It's a self-sustainable system. The same way a glacier feeds itself with snow, the forest feeds itself with water, used to do, because the destruction, well, we are bringing good news here, but first the bad ones. Understand? The destruction is almost unbelievable. In the beginning was the axe, then the chainsaw, and all those giant tractors with a giant chain, putting hundreds of trees per minute down. I talk about Amazonia since the 80s, so 30 years. And when I started to talk at the United Nations, there was 10, 20 football fields per minute. Last August, 2017 August, was 2,000 football fields in just 1 month were deforested there. Understand? And we need to acknowledge that it's not only the plants, the animals, the bugs, the people, everything are being destroyed. It's like a big dragon throwing fire there. Forest fires that the astronauts, they see it, 2,000 kilometer smoke of cloud of fire, of smoke. So this is going in a way that is really affecting the climate in the entire globe. And the big problem is that this is just starting. This kind of disasters, they are just starting, you know. See, so for instance, California, where we are, mega droughts. Mega droughts brought kind of forest fires that never has happened before. The fire cops said that we never fought fires like that. And those fires are bringing the mudslides. You see, this used to happen maybe each 50 years or each 100 or each 500. Now it's happening every year. And each year is increasing. Hurricanes is the same thing. See, so we need to do something. We need to do something, you see. And in Brazil and the other countries that compose Amazonia, Peru, Venezuela, Bolivia, it's the same situation, you see. Those countries are going through huge financial collapses. Agribusiness is almost like a demigod there that everybody bends, you see, so they kind of make a blank eye, and there's invasions, occupations, destructions happening really fast, you see. So what we can do? What we can do is to fortify the indigenous communities. In Brazil, we have 240 tribes, you see, and these 240 tribes, they hold almost 250 million acres of pure rainforest. It's almost Texas and California together, the territory, if we put all together. So if we help them, we are not only helping them, we are helping the animals that live there, we're helping fishes, everybody, you see, and the land, you see. So what we can do so far that's possible to do is doable, is feasible, is viable, is already happening, is to protect and fortify the indigenous communities. Yeah? And we are already doing that already there. It's already happening with the Yawanawá people. So before I can say about what to do, what's been happening and what we can do about it, I would like to ask my son Jordão to talk about the Yawanawás.
Thank you very much. I've been in touch with the Yawanawás in 2009, but before I talk a little bit about my experience there, I would like to share why the Yawanawás are so important for the Amazon and for the region where they live in. The Yawanawá, they are very famous for being spearheading many movements. They were the first one to get rid of the rubber barons. There was the biggest impact, the first contact of the native nations from Amazon was the rubber barons, and they were the first ones to get rid of them and get rid of them. After this, this big damage that happened in many other tribes, many of them start closing themselves. They did not want any contact with white people or nothing to do with that. And unfortunately, with this lack of contacts, they start getting very isolated, where illegal lodging, illegal logging, illegal cattle ranching, soybean plantation start attacking them, into a point that many of those nations already vanished. The Yawanawá, they have this difference because they believe for them to save their culture, they need to share this culture. And that's why they been so connected and looking always for allies, looking for friends that understand the situation that is happening in the planet and can support and can help somehow. And the Yawanawás, they were the first ones to have their land right by the state government of Acre. They were the first one of that state to have these land rights. But unfortunately, as soon as they had that, and they felt they were going to a freedom, the missionaries arrived there and stayed for 15 to 20 years. And this occupation, this colonization, really was a big damage for the culture and for the tradition. They were forbidden to speak their personal language. They were forbidden to use their ancestral medicines and their rituals and traditions. And this created a huge gap where they needed to convert their beliefs, their language, and all their culture as a whole to something that was not their nature, something that was not as their ancestors that have been repeating for thousands and thousands of years. Yeah. So I got in touch with the Yawanawás in 2009. They made this visit to our community and invited us to meet their village, their home, their forest. And once I got there, I got completely in love with the community, with the spirituality, with their connection to earth and how they behave for thousands of years, building houses, feeding, having their life in a very sustainable way, in a way really respecting the forest. I arrived there and I was born in Rio de Janeiro, so I got to know a lot about the city life. And as soon as I was getting to the village, I ate something very, very bad that I have no idea how many months were waiting there. And I got very strong diarrhea. Tried to buy some Western medications to treat it, was not having any result, and even though decided to go and arrive there. And as soon as I arrived there, did all this huge, generous hospitality, embracing me, and asked if everything is good with you. I share my situation, how concerned I was to be in the middle of the jungle with the medication, but not helping. I said, I think I need a doctor, I need to leave in a few days. But they said, no, don't worry, let's take a walk in the village. And we walked about 15 minutes, and they took a special type of leaf that for me at the moment was exactly of all the others around, but they made a juice and they had for me to drink. And after this was almost like an instant effect, where my diarrhea, my stomach aches stopped, and from that start healing. So I really got in touch with the powerful place and the powerful way they behave, communicate, and live there, and had such a big experience. And with that, I thought to myself, am I the only one who can have this experience? Am I the only one who worth this? And I have many friends. So in 2014, we organized the first expedition of youth, young generation. Brought some friends from US, from Canada, from Brazil, and we were able to be there. And the result was unbelievable. To see people coming from very far that have never been. Some of my friends have never traveled more than 3 states far, and they came to the heart of the Amazon. It's something that really made it possible, the Yawanawás, until the days of today, to have this very safe, very alive, even with the intervention of the rubber tappers, of the rubber barons, of the missionaries. They were in a remote area. We can see villages and nations that their land is very close to the city, or where a road passes by. It's very hard for them to get this influence from our culture and be starting forgetting. So with that, I start getting more involved, doing more trips, and seeing how we could extend this reach of people that had an idea about Amazon and have the will and have the desire to be a part of it, to help this huge catastrophe, this destruction that is happening right now, and what can they do. And together with these trips, I was able to get in touch more with the culture and then really understand how such precious knowledge are stored and how is the daily situation. So unfortunately, with this big gap that happened with the missionaries entering there, a lot was lost. Yeah. A lot of many the young generation, they start learning everything in Portuguese, and we start seeing this generation gap that start forming between the grandfather and the grandchildren. The grandfather had all this knowledge, but was not finding the right path to transfer that. And the young guy was in a different mindset as well, more attracted to the Western culture and wanted to learn more, not speak so much. So we start seeing this generation gap increasing. And this was something so serious for me to see, the benefit, the healing, the transformation that all my friends, all people that go there receive, this having the danger of being extinct. So we start getting deeper into that. It was when I got laced by a wild princess and got married, and it was then I was able to fully enter and understand more about the logistics and how the gears go. I was able to meet Tata. I think it was a couple years ago. I shared in more details about this experience, this 1 year initiation I did in the jungle with Tata. And Tata, he was one of the most unbelievable persons I had the honor to meet. He was a live encyclopedia, man. The knowledge he had about the spirit, about the animals, about the forest, about the medicinal plants, the healing, all the culture. He was born before the contact. When I got to meet him and do my initiation, he was already more than 90 years old. He was already blind from the 2 eyes, but the intuition, the knowledge he contained within himself was something unbelievable. And he started sharing, so I said to myself, I really need to get deeper, I really need to understand it better, to see how can I help. So into December 20th of 2016, he made the passage. I was able to be there with him for 40 days, and he said a lot for us. He left almost like a prophecy for us. He gave a lot of advice how we should continue. Why we take our children to the Western medicines, to Western hospital, if we have everything we need in the reserve, within the traditional knowledge. So, and he said to me, as important as it is the songs, as important as it is the prayers, as important as it is the culture, is the medicinal plants, what they call their nipai. The medicinal plants, they are very important, and not many people are looking into that, and this is facing almost extinction. So after he said that to me, this really got into my heart, and I started working out with the team, with my father, for us to see what would be the best, what we could do, what would be the best option to do.
Yeah. So what to do? We need something to figure out what to do. You see, because I'll say I come from the '60s. You see, in the '60s, my generation have a kind of subconscious existential anguish about nuclear bombs. You see, it was the time of John Kennedy, Nikita Khrushchev, one button would blow the entire earth and everything, and young people at that time, they feel that, but they don't verbalize, they don't express, you see. Today, the generations from today, I can sense the same kind of existential anguish, but it's not exactly about nuclear, it's about the environment. Our young people are seeing life fading. They are seeing life disappearing. See, how are we going to live? How are we going to have our children? How are our children going to breathe? What kind of water are they going to drink You know what I mean? And they feel like impotent, is how you say in English, impotent? Yeah, you see what to do. You see, so it's very important that I don't want to sound alarming. I don't want to sound like it's the end of the world or the apocalypse or whatever. But at the same time, I want to bring hope to the young people. Say, there's something we can do. Let's do it together. You see, let's assure the right of the next generations, the right to live. You see, and the way we found is this: let's protect the indigenous communities. Amazonia is just the beginning. We can do that with another indigenous communities all over the world. Let's protect them because, for instance, they are the true guardians of the forest. And how to protect them? We're gonna go there and teach them what to do. They are masters. They are masters. They are masters of sustainability. They live 10 millenniums in the forest, keeping the forest alive. They have the respect. They have the consideration. They have the wisdom. Yeah? They don't have this thing about a part of nature. They are one together. They don't lose that out. They were not expulsed from paradise. You know what I mean? They're still there. They respected the great mother, you see. And they don't have this kind of, as I call the glacier age trauma, you know what I mean? We can see in the Western culture there's a atavic glacier age trauma that I need to accumulate as much fat as I can, as much wood, firewood, otherwise I will die of fear, I'll die of cold, I'll die of hunger. So this insane accumulation of goods and wealth and everything. Now we need 2-3 planets per year to live. You know what I mean? The indigenous communities, they have a lot to teach about that. About simplicity, you know what I mean? About to live with little, you see, about how to be happy and have joy. You see, so we don't need to teach them what to do. We just need to protect their way of life. You see? And of course, psychologically, their identity crisis, you know what I mean? We need to protect their identity as true indigenous people. You know what I mean? Because in those places they feel really inferior. They feel like excluded. They feel despised. They feel disrespected. They feel abused. And they have a long story of abuse in many levels. You see? So about who are we? That's what they did it. They did it. After the missionaries the missionaries banned the shamans. When the missionaries went, they bring the shamans again and say, tell us who we are. You see? And the missionaries said, you want to know who you are? Bring the medicines. And bring them, and then you meet with yourself and you're going to know who you are. You see? So it's important to first preserve the identity, preserve the culture, preserve the tradition, and give to them, help them to have their kind of sustainability. You see, sustainability understood in their main 3 factors: environmental protection, social inclusion, and local economic development. If they have those 3 conditions, they can go for centuries, continue going for centuries. See, so that's what we can do, you see, to help them, and of course, interchange. It's very important to build the bridges. Jordão and I, we've been doing that already for years. We've built the bridges to break the isolation, because that's the predator's game is exactly that. Like they do it in Africa, the lions and the leopards, they isolate the prey, and when the prey is isolated, become easy prey. The predator, the human predators, they do the same thing. They isolate the Indians. Nobody knows about the Indians. The Indians has nothing, cannot have any kind of communication. They become isolated and easy preyers to be invaded, to be occupied, to be destroyed. So it's very important to make these bridges through communication and interchange visits. You see, this is already happening, as Jordão showed. And again, we don't go there. You need to do that. What's your dream? What's your dream? They say, it's not our dream. It's our elders' dream. It's about having a medicinal garden and people coming here to be treated. Okay, let's help you to do that. This already been happening before, even with the help of Google Gifted Program. In 2015, we could sponsor the formation of 6 new pajés. Pajés are the shamans. Yeah? And these people, they have only 2. One 97 years old, one another 100 years old. You see? And the young guy, so how I'm going to do that? I need to take care of my family. Say, no, okay, we give some scholarships here, pajés scholarships. And now we form 6 new ones. You see? And the medicinal garden too, you see. So, Jordão that they call Nipai. So Jordão is going to talk about Nipai, how that Nipai happened.
Yeah, so during these last days of Pajé Tatá, he really recommended that, really advises that pay attention to the Nipai. And Nipai are the medicinal plants, the plants that can cure health, that can cure physical illness and diseases. It was then when I started studying more and asking with the elders and doing this research about what is Nipai. And it was when I got in touch with Tuimpuru's dream. Tuimpuru's was one of the greatest shamans and leadership of the modern age for the Yawanawá. And he had this dream of uniting all the Yawanawá knowledge in just one place. Nipai in the past, before the contact with white people, they were held as a treasure of families. People will not pass that very easily, will not teach open for everybody. It was something that was their personal treasure, what they cherished the most, and was very restricted. And these Nipais, they have impressional healing properties. The Yawanawás, they have a data which they are very happy of it. That never they had a Yawanawá who needed to have any amputation or any death caused by snake bites. And we are talking about a place that there's a lot of poisonous snakes, and just with these treatments. But many times the leaves, they are 3 days, 4 days upriver, and you gotta go there and bring it back. With the time, after the contact with the white, with the rubber barons and the missionaries, this was banished. This was seen as something that did not work. Mainly because when it came malaria, that they had Nipai, but it was a very hard treatment, and they started giving pills and convincing that those were the actual medicines, and that did not, was not something to consider, so it was very banished. So many of the Nipai who start not that anymore, many of them start forgetting, start not passing down, and the youth start finding that very difficult. For you to learn about Nipai is something very complex. I left engineering, and that is very complex as well, but to come to something that matched, because from each plant you can use the bark, you can use the leaf, you can use the root, you can mix with different plants, and just these different parts of the plants you can use on the eyes, you can do evaporation, you can do a press on it, you can receive a bath, you can mix with some plants and drink. So it's very, very vast and complex knowledge that is held there just by their elders' memories. They don't have any way of having this written down or anything, it's just in the memory. And with this lack of interest by the young generation, because it's not as easy as a classroom. You gotta stay there, you gotta follow the Nipai, you gotta go in the rain for 4 days, this really demotivated the youth, because they do not even believe that was actually real. Only when they needed, only when somebody was bit by a snake or acquire a bad illness, that they will go there. So Tuikuru's dream was all about uniting this, taking from each individual shaman and medicine man and woman and uniting one garden, the Nipoi, the garden of the medicines. Unfortunately, in the time he was alive, he had almost no access to resources. And for somebody to come and spend the whole day with you in the logistics they live in, is one day they're not hunting for their family, is one day they're not fishing, they're not planting, so they need to have some type of compensation, mainly because this is something as their highest treasure. So this dream was archived, this dream was kind of forgotten. And after the words of Tata, that I could really get in touch with this dream and say, let's make a reality, let's join, because at that time they had 9, 12, 13 people who knew about that. Today we have 3, and one of them is already blind. He can only describe, he can only assist in some, and if we wait a little bit more, will come a time where we don't have any more teachers. And if we reach this point, all the different medicines, they are like different spirits or different persons that have something to give you, that have a healing, they all become just plants. The indigenous people, they are not just the guardian of the forest, but the guardian of the knowledge contained in the forest. How to use all this variety and all this abundance, how to use that in pro to our healing, our development as a human race. So it was then that I met Pereira and Tio Jorge. Pereira almost doesn't see anymore. He is the holder of this knowledge in the village that we live, and he was able to teach Tio Jorge, that is his son-in-law, already an elder, 60, 50 years old, and was able to really absorb, because he knew about the traditional language, he knew how to get that. And together with him, we start this plan, this project, this dream of having the Nipoi, the garden of the medicines. We started with, instead of building from zero, he said, I want to dream, I want to have a time to see where we're going to start, because once I do that, it will be a place where there's already many Nipoi, many medicinal plants already there, and then from there on we start bringing the ones that are not there. And it was when we start doing this survey, the landing, and we found a place that has a lot of medicinal plants already in that spot. And it was when we decided to create the center, a little house where Tio Jorge and Pereira, they could come and teach the young generation. Because it's not only, the answer is not only archiving that, taking pictures and putting in an external hard drive. This needs to be used constantly. And the only way this will be passed down, that we can guarantee the continuity of this knowledge, is through learning and passing down to the new generations. So together with the youth of Motum village, we're able to start this work, and go in remote places, even deeper than where the village already is located. We'll go even deeper into the forest and look, and go up river for many hours, and until we reach a point that we go in very close jungle, and comes a point that we see almost like a kingdom of just one type of plant. And there we were able to collect for the treatment, and also to collect some saplings for our medicinal garden. And it's a work in progress. It's not something that we can do from one day to another, from 1 month to another. Yeah, it's something that takes a long time. But we were able last year, November 7th, yeah, to really inaugurate, yeah, this medicinal garden, the Nipoi. Yeah. And it was not just because our vision, yeah, is that the Nipoi, the garden of the medicines, becomes a school for the young generation, and this school needs to sustain itself. Né? So this school with the research becomes a clinic or a place where we could get treatments, people treated. So in November 7th of last year, we were able to inaugurate this center, this garden of the medicines, and have our first patient. Né? And luckily, we have our first patient of the Garden of the Medicines right here. My father, and he will be able to share a little bit more about his personal experience there with the Nipoi, with the shamans, and with the whole forest.
Okay, so continue. Okay, so my friends, here what happened. Last year, I was kind of severely ill. You see, I have lung problems, and then lung inflammation and everything. And it's a problem because each time I have that kind of crisis, I try many things, but in the end of the day, the only thing that was working was antibiotics. And last year I took antibiotics almost 5 times, paying a big price for that. See, and Jordão's mother-in-law, the chief of the village, Mariazinha, said, Padrinho, come to have treatment with us. And then a green light said, I find a hope for me. And then I went there in last November, and for these celestial coincidences, I arrived there the day they were inaugurating the Nipoi, the medicinal garden. You see? And I arrived there like, hi, where is the next hammock? Oh, Jordão, tudo bem? I was feeling fever, lack of breath, very strong tiredness, you see? And then they took me to the inauguration. Was like a party there, people playing and dancing, and I started to feel that joy, that grace in the air. I started to feel so good there. And then we have a lunch. The pajés were there, Yawanawá, the 103 years old, Pereira that you just saw, Tio Jorge, and we have this lunch together, and Yawanawá said, talk about your health. And see, how's your health? And I described what I was going through, my symptoms and everything. And then he said, talk to Pereira. And they start to translate what I was saying. And Pereira was in the hammock. And then he starts to kind of almost like taking a nap. A little bit like Yoda, you know. And I start to feel a little, maybe he's not so interested in my health. And suddenly, he started and the others one starts to pay a lot of attention in what he was saying, because he was channeling ancestral spirit. It was coming through him, talking about me and in my situation. And he diagnosed shukuro. You have shukuro. Smoke cigarettes. For how long you smoke cigarettes? I say for almost 30 years. I stopped 17 years ago, but a cigarette and shukuro. And then Yawa say, I know the leaf for that. You see? And say, but I forgot the name. And that a red light. Tang, tang, tang. You see, they are losing the knowledge. They don't know how to write, they don't know how to read, they don't have a list of plants, everything in their old memory. You know? And that's the library guy, you know what I mean? He knows about the books. the Library of Alexandria was burned. Amazonia is a huge library. Each plant is a book. Each tree has a story to tell. Not only a story, but a contribution for humankind. You see? And the books are burning. And this ancestral knowledge, so precious, is vanishing. You say, wow. And the other guy, describe the leaf for me. He said, oh, it's a red leaf. Hookasme. Oh, of course, hookasme. In 10 minutes, they have the hookasme on hand. And they make a juice and say, oh, your head like that, open your mouth. And they start to squeeze the leaves here and praying. And wow, what a perfume. They taste delicious. Say, what a relief that I was looking for the entire 17, you know what I mean, in my lungs. I received it in that moment. What really triggers me, immediate effect of the plants. You use it, you feel immediately. You don't feel in hours or days, you know. And then I say, what else? I say, I had congestion here all the time. Huaitsa. 5 minutes, come with the leaf, smash it here in the hand, take a deep breath now. And I smell the medicine. It aches even a little bit. Ice with water. Immediately how say in English? Discongestioning effect. You see? I could breathe. I start to use it in a daily basis. It was gone. You see? And then they prescribed the treatment for me. They found a guy who can show Kaya, my friend. Kaya, that's Kaya. This guy is the guy for me. And the way he is so simple. He doesn't speak much, but he was always there. Every day, early morning. Hey, Padrinho. Hey, Paulo. Time to bath. See? And then he prepares the bath. You see, this is a special blend. That's the mega diversity of Amazonia in the pot. You see, 57 kinds of leaves. 57 kinds of bushes and trees are here, boiling. And they cover with banana leaves. They bring the pot. I go to the pot, and then they put a stick, a cloth, tent, and then say, now smell. Smell. And again, the perfume, delicious. It's like, It's almost like you get pegado with the perfume, you know. You feel so good with that. Yeah. And they say, focus, concentrated. And when they say that, this is not only a material body kind of thing, it's a spiritual too. I need to connect it to do that. I need to stop thinking. I need to really put attention in the, it's not visual, it's not audio, it's just smelling, perception. And when I did that, the perfume becomes like a bee and enters in myself. And they have exactly the name they have for this kind of leaves, the perfume that put bad things out. And then I start to sweat a lot, and I say, wow. And then I start to notice, as far as I could focus and concentrate, I could notice what I was sweating. What was happening about like a stress detox. I travel, it's 2017, maybe more than 100 flights and many countries and many things. You see, and all of that I was accumulating, all that was going. And it's kind of an exquisite kind of relief. And the freedom that comes with that relief, you see. And after that, they come, they got the leaves, and they squeeze over my head, like this. They squeeze, praying. See, they squeeze, and so they shower the medicines. It was like a medicinal waterfall, medicinal shower. And was changing many levels. It was changing at cellular level, physical, muscles, organs, emotions, hearts, sentiments, mental stress, about tiredness, mind of working so much. Everything was changing, was transforming, was regenerative. I felt regenerating, you see. And after that, hammock. They have the most comfortable hammock I ever saw in my life. You see, the Marubo Indians. They weave the hammock in a way that you feel perfectly comfortable. It's a balanced entire body, balanced entire body that you almost feel like levitating. The body gets totally relaxed, you see. And then you stay there for 30 minutes, 1 hour, you see. And then I start to feel like phosphorescent. I feel vibrating everything. And what a joy. What a joy. It was like almost like backing home feeling. I was in nature again. And that was so healthy for me. You see? And they have this Uxarau leaf. One of the leaves are Uxarau. It's the sleep leaf. You see? I don't understand. I'm not a doctor, but you take a bath and you sleep for 12 hours, 13 hours with no side effects. And you wake up feeling so good, like long recharge. You see? The calm, the serenity that gave me, you see, and the mindfulness that this serenity gave me. As far as my mind was not crowded, was not tired, I have open space for a special kind of perception and conscious expansion too. And I merge with the forest. And when I merge the forest, I say, I'm kind of crazy. I think one of those leaves is hallucinogenic because the plants are talking to me. And Maria said, no, Padre, it's not the plant, it's the Yuxian, the spirit of the plant. And this is Pajaz has been saying a lot. How they communicate with the spirits of the forest. How they take ayahuasca, enter in trances, communicate with the spirit, takes the case of the patient, and the spirit say, oh, that bark, that root, the prescriptions. You see? Yeah. See? I start to meet the spirit of the plants, and they invite me to be by myself in the forest. I stay 7-10 days in the village, and I say, I feel the call to be by myself, recluse in the forest, in that Nipai, the place there, inside the forest. You see? And say, this was a surprise for you. We're just in building a bedroom for you there. I say, whew, let's go. You see, so I spent like 25 days there by myself. You see, not totally recluse because kayak come every day. Padre, best time. I say, okay. And bringing back a special, I just ate fish and hunt. That was all. And manioc, some kind of a vegetable, local vegetable. This food was perfect. Every morning, just fish. They fish the very early bring. See? And so like that, I have my experience, my encounter with myself. I could merge with the forest. And, I interact with Amazonia for the last 30 years. You see? Did a lot so far, and I talk. But in this month, I experienced much more than the entire 30 years. You know that Giordano Bruno picture when he contemplates the sky, crosses the sky, see another sky? You see? Yeah? I have this experience with the forest. Almost like I cross the forest and I find another forest. Say maybe the true forest. You see, with the spirits, like an avatar bioluminescence and all alive. The Yuxian, like Amazon elementals, Amazon kind of fairies, beings of the spirits of the. You see, I saw each flower as a smile. I saw each fruit as a blessing. I experienced the spirit and the generosity of kings of nature that was bringing my health back in a straight access. You see, usually explorer comes tribe. That leaf is good. Explorer say botanical. Botanical classify pharmaceutical. Pharmaceutical synthesize industry. Industry, in fact, drugstore. Many change. In this case, it's the straight access to the medicine. You see, It needs to be done in that moment. There are plants that are only 20 seconds after you need to use the eye drops. And all the plants just in the day they are harvested. You cannot use it. So it's still there, the essence. And that's what gave me this extraordinary benefit of health that I feel gratitude. I feel totally great. I got in my knees and I thank back for having my life back again. See? So I say, well, now at least 1 year I need to come to restore my health here, number one. Number two, I need to share that. How many people I know that needs the same thing that I need, health, treatment, with no side effects. We know all the things of usual treatments in us, you know what I mean? We take all those pills and it's bad, you know, but that was so pure, was so healthy. And it was much more than a physical treatment. It was an entire encounter with myself. You know what I mean? An entire horizon of life was spreading here. And it could be, you see, so what can I do? I want to help these people. They didn't charge me $1. They didn't ask me anything in return. The generosity, the kindness of indigenous people is pure. It's pure. Very noble. It's very noble kind of generosity you feel. I felt there. I was embraced. You see? So I say, I want to help. I want to help you guys. And I know, as I describe it, this destruction, the dragon coming, cattle ranch, you know, they are in danger. So I say, I want to be by your side. I want to be there for you guys. You were there for me. I want to be there for you guys. How can I help? Say, fulfill the dream of Antonio Curu. Nipai become hospital. The Garden of the Medicines become hospital. So I committed to do that. See, committed to do that. I start to help them to organize a team to receive visitors. And that's our mission now. And that's where we are coming here to ask for help to fulfill the mission, because by ourselves we cannot do it. See, but we, thanks God, we have many friends. We are in the same wave. You know, each one with their surfboard, but we are at the same wave. We are at the same planetary canoe. So it's very important that we help each other now. You see, to make that happen, to make this, make like a jungle clinic. You see, and we need things. We need things. We need technology. Yeah? We are so grateful for Google. You see, you see. So Google helped there. You see, effectively. You see. So we want to see Google products and services shine there, because the communication for them is really, really important. That's the problem of isolation. People here already aware that, see how it's important to be connected, to be wired. Anything happens, can talk, what's up, you know what I mean? They don't feel alone. That's the problem about this loneliness that has with the Tibetans, with the Africans, refugees. There's a lot of loneliness. People feel very, if you are connected, you have friends, if you have the bridges, human bridges, you can connect it. So we need the internet, we need computers, we need those kind of Android phones. We need technology to keep the connection alive. You see? We need transportation, we need the lodging to build the bungalows there for receive the visitors. We need to help them to train the nurses, people like Kaya. We need more, like 7 or 8 like this that can assist the people that comes for treatment, you see. So, and much more than that, this is just the material thing. What we really need is love and solidarity from you guys. That's what we really need. You see, your presence, come to visit, come to experience, be in touch, you see, connected. You see, if you think you can do a help in any level, show up. You see, that because this can have a tremendous multiple effect. If worked well to the Yawanawás, can work well for for hundreds of tribes that holds this immense size of pure rainforest. so we can protect it a lot and giving them the sustainability, you see, to live and to be together. So this is our message. This is what we came here to talk about it. And we have this hope that we can count with all of your help to make that happen. And we gave a yoo-hoo together when you come to help to inaugurate the clinic there. Yoo-hoo!
So in case you guys want to contact us, please feel free to contact us at nipoigarden@gmail.com. That is where you guys can say how you can support, how you want to get involved, and from there on we can make this dream become true. Thank you so much.
Give it a yoo-hoo again. Yahoo!